this year's focus. So we have our 2020 and 2021 initiative. This is a church-wide thing we're focusing on this year, and it's from lost in a crowd to known in community, or we're also calling it better together, that we are better together in community, that when we get into life groups, when we get into places where we're choosing to serve side by side with each other, we are better. And so we are going to be talking about this. We're going to sprinkle this into the message that we have from middle school for high school. We're going to be focusing on this as a church-wide thing. But really, our goal is to help students choose community. That we want to help them to make the active choice to say, I want to be involved in community. Whether that's youth group, whether that's my small group, that I'm saying I'm committed to these group of students, and so I want to be here on a regular basis. Whether that's finding a place to serve, that we really want our students to serve here at E-Free, that it's so important for students to serve. It's so important for them to get involved in the larger life of the church. And so that's one of the reasons we don't have Sunday school for grades 6 on up. That we want to get them involved in serving, that it really is an awesome time for them to get involved in the larger church, to start getting involved either in children's ministry and start serving as a helper in one of those rooms, whether it's them joining the tech team and running a camera, whether it's them joining the greeting team and waving and saying good morning as people come in, or joining the usher team and helping people find a seat, that there's so many places for our students to get involved in the life of the church here. And so we really, really want to invite your son or daughter to be known in community and to join us in community, to choose community. So we're going to focus on that this year. I also want to let you know, these are a few of the message topics that we're going to be focusing on this year. So the plan is to start off by talking about the character of God. That I always like to start off the year by focusing on who God is, whether that's his character, whether that's what he's done, what he's doing, his promises. And so we want to start with the character of God this year, that we're going to look at his faithfulness, his trustworthiness, his love, his goodness, and his mercy. And so we're going to look at that to start off the year. And then that's going to help to inform the rest of the topics that we talk about. So we're going to also talk about, we're going to have a sermon series called This Is So Frustrating. And it's going to be about the fear of the unknown, that it's so frustrating to not be able to know what's coming tomorrow, what's coming down the road. When is this going to end? That's a difficult, frustrating place for us to be. And so we're going to talk about that as a youth group. We're also going to talk about constant change, that I am a person who doesn't love change. And so having everything in the world seem like it changes every 2 weeks is not fun. And so how do we thrive? How do we survive in that kind of world? I'm talking about stress and anxiety, that stress and anxiety is a constant part, unfortunately, of students' lives right now. So how do we help students as they navigate stress and anxiety? We're also going to talk about ultimate authority. We're going to talk about how God is our ultimate authority. Then we're going to talk about how God has placed other authorities above us that are between us and him. So those are government leaders, those are school leaders, those are parents. And how do we interact with those? How do we have a good relationship with our mom or dad, that they are an authority, that God in his wisdom and his love and his goodness has placed parents over students to help guide them, to instruct them, and to give them good boundaries? How do we, and then we're going to move on, we're going to move on to respect. How do I disagree with someone respectfully? That there's so many opportunities right now to disagree with people, and so much of the time it's not very respectful. And so how do we grow in being able to respectfully disagree with someone? Also, how do I maintain a friendship with someone I disagree with? That there are lots of people that I may agree with them on A, but I disagree with them on B. How do I continue to be friends with them? And what's the important things that we should agree on, that we need to agree on? So we're talking a little bit about friendship. And then we're also going to talk about how the gospel impacts. That this is a series we started last year, and we're just going to continually each year have this series and just pick out a few different things the gospel impacts. So we're going to choose things different from the previous year. But I love this series because the gospel is relevant to us. It impacts our daily life. And so I'm excited to talk about how the gospel impacts. That's another thing we're going to talk about this year.